alike, but an unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. Everything had gone wrong in the obstinate household. The wife, Dolly, had found out that her husband had been having an affair with the children's French teacher, and had announced that she could not go on living in the same house. She did not leave her room, and her husband stayed away from home all day. Their 5 children wandered all over the house, not knowing what to do with themselves. The 7th were quarreling with each other, and the head cook had left. On the 3rd morning after the quarrel, Prince Stem of Stevia, as he was generally called by his friends, awake at the usual time of about 8 o'clock. Suddenly he remembered why he was not in his usual bedroom, but on leather sofa in his study. Dolly will never forgive me. She can't forgive me, he thought. What have I done? It's all my fault, but I can't really believe that's the whole tragedy. He remembered how he had come back from the three nights ago, feeling very happy, and had found Dolly waiting for him in the bedroom, his note in her hand and an expression of honor, despair, and anger on her face. What this? What does it mean? She heard demanded Claudie, holding out their note. Obviously, was not surprised that Dolly had discovered his affair, that he had not known what to say. He had not tried to defend himself or to ask for forgiveness. He had only smiled his usual kind and rather fooling smile. Dolly had run from the room with string of angry and bitter words, and since then she had refused to see him. Why did I smile in that silly way? Thought obviously, and what can I do now? He asked himself again. The effort with the French teacher was not the first effort that Australia had had. He was not really sorry about it. He only regretted that he had not managed to hide things better from his wife. He was 34 years old, husband and coming, but he was not longer in love with Dolly. She was not a good wife and mother, but her youth and beauty had faded. He rang the bell, and immediately a servant came in, carrying his boots, clothes, and telegram. Obviously, tore open the telegram and read it, and his face brightened. It was from his sister Anna in Patagonia, where she lived with her husband and 8-year-old son. Dolly was very fond of Anna, and obviously had written to her, hoping that she might come and put things right between them. The telegram said Anna would be arriving in Moscow the next day. When the servant had left the room, Australia dressed with his usual care. Then he smoked a cigarette before closing the room and opening the door into his wife's bedroom. Dory was standing in front of Captain, trying to make a decision. Her own sin and the children's clothes rolled everywhere on his floor. She was thinking that she ought to leave Australia and take the children to her mother, but in her heart she knew this was impossible because in spite of everything, Australia was her husband and she still loved him. When she saw her husband come in, she felt even more alarmed. He looked so fresh and healthy, as if nothing in the world was wrong. If nothing in the world was wrong, Dory pressing not to notice him, trying to appear strong and determined, but only succeeded in looking lost and miserable. Anna is coming tomorrow, said Australia in a soft voice. Well, I can't receive her, cried Dory. I believe you are going to my mother's. Dory, you must try and understand. You must see. Go away! Go away! Go away! Dory cried with a ring at him, as if the cry was torn from her body. When Australia said Dory's suffering face and heard the troubled despair in her voice, his eyes filled with tears. Dory, please forgive me. Please think of the children. They've done nothing wrong. I'm the guilty one. Pardon me for my sin. Tell me what to do. But please, Dory, forgive me. Dory sat down and said, I think of the children, Stavia, and I would do anything in the world for them. But I don't know what is the best from them, whether I should take them anywhere or leave them with a father who is normal. How can we live together after what happened? I hate you. You never loved me. She rose quickly and moved toward the door. Dory, one more word, said Australia going after her. Go away! She screamed. She went out, pinning the door. Australia called his servant and told him to prepare a room for Anna. Then he put on his coat and went to his office. Australia had a well-prepared person and had head of one of muscular constrictors. He needed a job with good salary because he already had a lot of debt. He had obtained this job through his sister Anna's husband, Alexei Karen, who had an important position in the ministry to which the courthouse was achieved. Australia was not hard-working, but he was clever, good-natured, charming, and popular. People were always delighted to see him because he made them feel happy. Ah, Sylvia Australia, they would say with a smile of pleasure. On arriving at the courthouse, Australia went straight into a meeting to discuss a report. It was nearly 2 o'clock when the meeting finished. When he came up, he saw a man running quickly and lighting up the standing toward him. He was strongly built and bone-shouldered, with black hair and curly bread. Australia smiled with pride and pleasure. Leven, it's you! What are you doing in Moscow? Living and obviously was the same age and he been good friends since their school days. Although they were very fond of one another, they were very different in their characters and tastes. Mostly enjoyed the good restaurants and theaters and expensive clothes of Moscow, but town life made living feel uncomfortable. He had a large estate and home in the country, and was only happy when he was living and working there. I'm so very glad to see you, cried Obsly, noticing with surprise that Living was wearing a smart new French suit. I must talk to you about something, said Living. Suddenly he seemed shy and embarrassed. Tell me, what are the side practice doing? The same as usual. Obviously was not at all surprised by Level's question. He had known for some time that Living was in love with Princess Kitty, suspected Donna's younger sister. He smiled. If you want to see the subtlety, he said, they are sure to be in the shaking grades from 4 to 5. Kitty shakes there. You go and I'll call for you and we have dinner together. Excellent, said Liv. At 4 o'clock that afternoon, Levin went to the shaking ground and, with a beating heart, turned along the path of the earth hills and the shaking ground. He was sure that Kitty would be there, as he had seen the charity carriages at the entrance. It was bright, frosty afternoon, and the earth was crowded with people, young and old, expert and beginning. Liv recognized Kitty at once among the sex. He knew she was there by the joy and tears that saddened his heart. Kitty saw him too. She shaked up to him, smiling her wonderful smile as giving him her hand. Have you been in Moscow long? She asked. Not long. I came yesterday. I mean today, said Living in confusion. I didn't know you could shake so well. Why don't you get some skates and we can shake together? Suggested Kitty. Living went at once to hear some shakes and then joined Kitty on the ice. She took his hand and they set off side by side, going faster and faster, and the faster they shaked and more tightly she granted his hand. Living could not speak for happiness. Are you in Moscow for long? Kitty asked. I don't know, repeated Liv. Then he added without thinking, it all depends on you. At once he noticed a change some over Kitty's face, like the sun disappearing behind the clouds. She either did not hear his words or did not want to hear. A few minutes later, she shifted away from him. What have I done? Thought Liv. Have I upset her? Seeing that Kitty had taken off her shake and was preparing to live with her mother, Princess Sebrekte. He took off his shirt too and went up to them. How nice to see you, said Princess Saskia in polite but cold voice. Do come and see us while you are in Moscow. We shall be at home to visit this evening. Later, Level went with obviously to one of Moscow's most fashionable and expensive restaurants. While all the waiters knew obviously and treated him with the greatest respect, they took his hat and coat and led him to a special table in a private room. David felt most uncomfortable in this grand restaurant. He performed the kind of plain, simple food that he was used to in the country, but Austria ordered the large meal for both of them with the most expensive dishes and the finest wine. Are you going to the theatre tonight? He asked the end of the meal. Yes, but I'm afraid that Kitty's mother doesn't like me. That's just her manner, said Austria. It doesn't mean anything. But why have you started out from Moscow so long? And why have you come back? Why have I come back? Asked Liv, looking at Austria with shining eyes. Can't you guess? You in love with Kitty, said Austria, smiling. Yes, said Liv. I fled Moscow because I was afraid I had no chance with her. But I couldn't stop thinking about her. So I've come back to ask if she'll marry me. Do you think there is any possibility she'll say yes? Of course, repeated Austria quickly, and Doreen believes it too. She's quite sure that Kitty loves you. Really? Cried Liv. How wonderful! That's just a wrong thing I ought to tell you, went Austria. Do you know Count Austria? No, I don't live. Why ought I to know him? Because he was of your rivals. He appeared in Moscow just after you left. His young cavalry officer from Petrograd, handsome and intelligent, with a lot of influential connections. His mother is very keen on him, but I'm sure that Kitty will persuade you to proceed. Don't delay and rather go quickly and ask her to marry you. And good luck. A lot of people were expected at the city home house that evening. Let me go there early, before any of the other guests had arrived, hoping for the chance to speak to Kitty alone. Kitty's parents had very different options about leaving. Prince Selecty thought he would make a fine husband for his daughter, but Princess Selecta did not think Rebel was good enough for Kitty. She disliked his strong option and his little weight in society, and she had been pleased when he had suddenly left Moscow and gone back to the country. When Boxy had appeared on the scene, she had been delighted. Boxy suffered all her desire for Kitty. He was rich, intelligent, and charming, and had bright career before he in the army and court. He paid Kitty a lot of attention, danced with her at bed, and was always coming to the house. Since the princess was the box's interaction toward Kitty were serious, but he had still not proposed marrying, and as time went by, this worried her more and more. At 7:30 the evening, the tiny servant announced leave. The blood rushed to Kitty's heart, and she felt sad and afraid. She knew why leave had come early, and she knew too that we was going to hurt his feelings. Kitty was very fond of Liv, whom she had known since she was a child, but she thought of him as a brother, not husband. They were not the same feeling as had for Kitty. Firstly, with him she could imagine a wonderful future of great happiness. But with living, the future seemed mystery and uncertain. Levin entered the room, looking at us with shining eyes. "I was hoping to find you alone," he said. "I can't say, be my wife," he finished, not knowing what he was saying. Kitty was breathing heavily, not looking at him. Her heart was bursting with happiness. She had never expected to feel such a powerful emotion as the word of love. But then she remembered Boxy, and she looked at Reverend despair face with her clear, honest eyes. "No, that can't be. Forgive me," she reflected softly. For a moment, Levin did not answer. Then he said sadly, "I understand. No, of course it can't be." He turned to leave, but at that moment, Princess Celestine came into the room. When she saw Levin's troubled face, she immediately guessed what had happened and felt a great sense of relief. Thank God, Kitty had refused him, she thought. The other guests began to arrive, and among them was very handsome and charming dark-haired man in uniform. "Let me introduce you," said the princess to Liv. Constance dismissed Liv, country anxiously Brixie. Brixie shook Liv's hand and smiled at him warmly. "It was hoping to meet you, Ada," he said in a friendly way. "But you had already left Moscow for the country?" Livin was watching Kitty closely. He saw the way her wild face lit up when she looked at Boxy, and realized that she loved Boxy and his own situation was hopeless. He left as soon as politely could, and his last impression was of Kitty happy, smiling face as the character of Boxy. After leaving the Celestine house, Levin decided to visit his brother Nikolai. Nikolai was living in a small hotel. Many years ago, he had lived a very neglected life, but now he lived in a different kind of way. He was drunk for most of the time and was always getting into trouble with the others for his trance and with wild behavior. wild behavior. But in spite of everything, living loved Nicholas dearly and wanted to help him. He had not seen his brother for about 3 years, and he was very shocked by Nicholas' troubled appearance. His brother was suffering from compression. He was very thin and kept coughing painfully. His face was very poor, with large eyes that were wide and flightless. He greeted him with a joy that lit up his face for that smiling return. And then, including a woman standing in a doorway. This is my least compression, Maria. She was working as a prostitute when I met her, and now she looks after me. I love and respect her, and anyone who witnessed to know me must love and respect her too. She is the same as a wife to me. Maria bought supper from Nikolai and leaving, and Nikolai began to ask questions about their old family, home in the country where Level still lived. But whenever Level looked at his brother's thin, pale face, he felt more and more sorry for him. As he was leaving, he said to Maria, "Please write to me if you need me. Try to persuade him to come and stay with me." The next day, Levin felt Moscow and went back to his country estate. Chapter 2. A final attraction. At 11 o'clock on the morning after the Saturday party, Roxy drove to the railway station to meet his mother. Ben was coming to visit him from Preston. The first person he saw on the station spoke obviously. "Who are you meeting?" asked Roxy, smiling at everyone who made Obstre's day. "I've come to meet pretty woman," repeated Obstre, "my sister Anna." "Oh, Anna, right?" said Roxy. "Yes, you know her, don't you?" "I think so, or perhaps not. I really don't remember," repeated Roxy, the name clearly giving him an indirect impression of someone rather official and boring. "But you must know my respect brother-in-law. All the world knows him." "Yes, I know him by reflection and by sight. I know that he's clever and rather regulation, but he's not really my type." The train had just been signaled. There was a rush of population in the station as a crowd of people pushed horses to meet it. The whiteness of an 80 and the steep, low noise of the train could be heard in the distance. Soon the platform began to shake as the train swirling in and at last came to stop. A young grounded Justin, one flattening his whiteness and walked out to Roxy. He asked him if he knew which carriage the Countess Roxy was in. "Yes, she's in the carriage," repeated the grand. Roxy followed the grand to his mother's